And we are live. My channel here.
Greetings, everyone.
Greetings, everybody. Peace, peace.
We'll give a minute for y'all to come on in. Come on in.
Yes.
And I'm trying to see where I would see the. Oh, here's a share. Um, can you drop the link in the chat so I can copy it?
Sure. I sure can.
Never mind. That's the link for them to join anyway.
This
Um,
is the link for, well, this is the link for YouTube
oh, okay, yeah,
if you want that.
yeah. That's the one I need.
Sorry. I'm using I forgot my mouse upstairs.
Oh, so you're having a tap.
I'm having to do a whole bunch of tapping. There you go.
Okay, so I am going to drop the link.
There we go.
Okay. And so on my end, I don't have any controls. Is there a way to enable them, or if you could remember to just drop the chat on the screen? So add a little sauce.
Sure.
We're gonna layer the sauce.
So what's that? The banner, Nina? These right here.
Use.
Private chat, greetings, comments. Yeah, they're enabled. You talking about comments?
Yeah, if you click on the comment, it'll say it'll put a plus sign up there so it can show it.
Yep.
Yeah, mine doesn't have all your sauce. You got the hook
Yeah,
on.
no comments just yet, but
Okay, so we're getting back into Awakening. Y'all know I'm gonna show it in the camera. Awakening the Master Feminine.
how you feel about the first chapter, Nina? I know we had some conversations about we talked a
Right.
lot about the elegant rose archetype. I
Um,
know that one resonated for me for sure. Like I need to be a lot more elegant. I felt like just with the way coming up, needing to have an established career and working really hard and I guess not really needing a man. I don't know that I looked at it like that, but just really making sure that I had my own. It
right.
really kind of chips away at that elegant rose, and to be so and to have been younger or young approaching my teenage years,
Mhm.
some of that got a lot of it got chipped away then, just not. I don't know, did you ever have a sex talk?
I did not.
Yeah, I don't know that I
Unfortunately.
did either.
Yeah. So the world taught me the ways of, you know, it's crazy. I would prefer not the world teaching me, but I digress.
Mhm.
Just
Mhm.
shout out to my mama.
Yeah.
So, the Elegant Rose, it made me have a love hate relationship with the book. I was in my feelings from the whole time we read, you know, chapter one. But it helped me to see clearly because if you're participating in the book club, you know that when you hear these words, it's literally making you look back and you can automatically I guess distinguish which of those archetypes most resonated with you. And so that's big for me. The elegant rose was one, but I really early on knew I was gonna have a kid, breastfeed. I just knew it, and so the moon archetype is there too. I just feel like at some point life makes you hard, and so for women,
Mm-hmm.
all we see is strong women. That's what you talk to have your own. Don't depend on a man. And so me and Amina discussed that, and I don't know if it was in class or not, but we were just talking about how if you're on that program, it teaches you that you can't really rely on a man.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's still a type of program that distrusts. And then also, I grew up watching love movies, and that's another thing. Like they paint this wonderful
Yep.
picture, and when you get in it, you like, "Where's my wonder?" Wait a minute.
This ain't, this ain't what I signed up for.
Right, right. I said that for like 4 years straight. Like what you bought versus what you got, and so
Yeah.
that hurt. It shatters a couple of paradigms, and also, like you say, the sex talk. You didn't get that talk, or just from the root, you didn't get that nurturing. You didn't have a moon archetype mom. That's another thing,
Mm-hmm.
and so it just, but it just excites me because I know if this is just chapter one, what else?
I know. I know.
So are you gonna reread the part that you wanted to go over again?
Yeah, you know what? Okay, so the audio was out last time we read, and I think I did. So you all, everyone missed the icon and the image of the elegant rose. I will read that really quickly. So the icon of the elegant rose is a splendid rose on a pillow of silk. And the image, for purposes of visualization, is a very voluptuous and seductive woman lounging on a couch. She wears a suggestive outfit, slit in the front to expose her smooth, sleek thighs. She is enticing. She is effortlessly beautiful. On the couch with her are honey, flowers, and frankincense.
Mm.
Yeah, sorry about that. I think everybody missed that last week.
So what page is that on?
That is page 10.
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. All right.
Yep.
So everybody loves your voice. We got feedback. It's so soothing. And my sister
Thank you.
even like tell her she has the voice of an elegant.
Oh, thank
Right.
you. That puts me closer to the archetype than I thought. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. In action. I can see it. And so just a lot of people resonate with Elegant Rose, but what I had to go back and do was decipher which was an unbalanced rose
Mhm.
versus what Elegant Rose would look like in balance.
Mhm.
And so yeah, do you
Yeah,
have
because
echo?
the elegant rose didn't really that's the one that wasn't really with the boundaries, right? Like it could be kind of like a out of control
Mm-hmm.
type of archetype where it's like I do
Yeah,
what I want.
like
Yeah.
that ain't it. I mean, it is if that's what you want, but just out of balance, I would think would be the goal of no one.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to bring balance, but yeah, it was deep. I'm like, and then the ugly part for me, it's like I can acknowledge that I was more the out of balance elegant rose.
Mm.
I don't know if this archetype goes into what we were reading, but it just reminds of me of when Amina was talking about that female that is sleeping with all these guys and she's forever thinking that the next guy is the one.
Yeah.
He's the one. He's the one. It's like constant tearing down. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even think you have to sleep with them. I mean, for me, that was definitely something that I did. I wasn't sleeping with these people, but it would
Look,
be at first meet.
let
I would
mama
be
die.
like, "Oh my
Right.
gosh, this
Right.
is the one. We gonna do this, this, and that," and
Right.
it's not healthy.
It's
But
not. And that made me think of like when you well me growing up waiting on my dad to come back. That was my thing. Like, he's
hmm,
gonna come back. He'll say he gonna come and he'll never come. But it's just like, was I looking for that attention in men? Because like I said, I've never had a problem with not having like, never. So that's not my fight. But just how many of them did I think was the actual one and was putting like energy and time into it, and it's just not it. And so yeah, it's like the chasing of the father.
yeah, I think you said the key word, the attention. And
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't even really, in some cases, matter what kind of attention it is. Usually, it's the opposite of the attention that you desire,
Right,
but it is still attention all the same. So you just kind of have to wonder.
right.
I know I do. Anyway.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm sharing the link. I don't know why. Let me see. But I need to check and see if I'm live on my own channel
Oh
because I don't
yeah,
think I am.
double check.
You said what? Because my sister would be here. Let me drop here. Okay. Girl, the tap tapping is real. Please. Okay, and I just shared it in our high priestess class.
Okay, cool.
Now
So,
let me go on here and see um my channel. Okay, so yeah, I'm just trying to figure out how can I get the video to my subscribers. They're probably like, girl, where you at? But anyway, I am going to play the video on my phone too. Was that enough?
okay.
Yeah.
So Nina, you can't get yours to.
It's not showing live.
Hmm.
I don't know why. Oh, one Jiku. Let me send it to her.
Interesting.
Okay. So okay. So I did that. Yeah, we have this is still us trying to create content. So we're just trying to get our numbers up. Bear with us.
Yes, thank you. This is all fairly new. You know what I can do is you want me to start reading chapter 2 or you want to wait until
No, I'm
you
all
figure
ears.
out if
No, I'm all ears.
I want
I'm
to
ready.
make sure you got your channel is streaming it.
Oh, they'll just have to get the upload. It's cool. It's just generally people from our class, and so I'm gonna send it to their DM.
Okay.
But the show must go on. I know my homegirl came last week, but I don't know if she stayed to the end. but I sent it to her phone. Um, mm, but yeah, you can start. I'm
All
listening.
right.
All right.
All right, everyone. We're going to get started with chapter 2 of Awakening the Divine, Awakening the Master Feminine. Excuse me. Chapter 2 is the decline of the feminine woman. There is an African wise saying, you are what you see, you are what you eat, you become what you think. Since World War II, females in the West are becoming more yang. This results because what grows in us is what we feed our mind. If a woman feeds her yang or masculine energy, this is what will grow. If a woman sees society as being a place that rewards her for being yang, she will become more yang. Maybe in her mind, this is what she needs to be a single parent. This may not result in the best life outcome for her. There are certainly many economic, social, and political forces in this world pushing the modern woman in certain directions. I do not here advocate that every woman become a super yin, ultra feminine, passive, stay at home diva.
Mm,
But I do believe that the pendulum have swung too far in the yang direction, and we should begin to place a higher value on the feminine side of the woman. Why are so many women becoming less feminine? Perhaps in the world as it currently is, women do not always perceive being feminine as being an asset. Keep in mind that we are talking about perception here. And if we think about the typical experience of a woman on her job, raising kids, dealing with money issues, maintaining a house, driving in traffic, etc., the case can be made that being strictly feminine will not always get her where she wants to go. Also, many women have experienced some form of sexual abuse or sexual bias, and I believe this is another factor impacting on how women perceive the value of being feminine. So often we find that modern women will sacrifice their feminine energy on the altar of modern progress and social rights. We do not have to go back far into Western history to see a time when women did not have the right to vote. Just 2 centuries ago, the mistreatment and abuse of women were tolerated and, in some cases, institutionalized. Subgroups of women, such as Asian women and African American women, were not even considered human. Men treated their horses better than these women. We can debate why women are becoming less feminine, but the fact is that they are. So it would appear that our society has embedded in it an internal conflict for a woman that is hard to avoid or resolve. Embrace your feminine energy and be taken for granted or considered weak. Suppress your feminine energy and discover that it becomes very hard for you to please men naturally, and your domestic life a very becomes very hard for suppress your feminine energy and discover that it becomes very hard for you to please men naturally, and your domestic life becomes a chore. Everything from breastfeeding to cooking requires an effort and does not bring the joy it seems to for some women. Your ovaries dry up at 35 and there is the tendency to gain weight. Without her feminine attributes functioning at their highest potentials, the woman experiences a loss in the quality of her life. Today, massive sectors within the overall feminine population have experienced a substantial loss in the level of their feminine energy. So basically, women today are becoming less feminine internally. On the outside, they look more appealing and sexual than they ever did. Few women can live up to the expectations created by their outer appeal. They are loaded down instead with emotional issues and personality dysfunctions. The older she gets, the more her outside world demands that the modern woman be a yang, masculine production machine. Her job, her social clubs, civic organizations, and the credit and financial institutions all demand that she be like a man. But at the same time, everyone in her intimate circle, including husband, boyfriends, children, grandchildren, in laws, and etc., desire to experience more and more of her feminine and or nurturing side, and they become upset and act out when she will not deliver. Try doing both in the absence of sufficient female. Trying to do both in the absence of sufficient female energy is enough to drive the typical woman insane. Excuse me, let's see. We lost Nina. I think she's coming back. Okay, we'll continue. The concept of natural sexuality. Natural feminine expression is what reflects the design in female DNA. We seek to reset the standard. Excuse me,
It seems to
here we go.
for some.
We seek to reset the standard to the place where it should always have been. It should not be based on a social standard, but a natural standard that always remains the same. Nor should a standard for feminine expression be crafted to create a race of women ideally suited to serve the sexual interests of men. It is about balance. The natal traits of male and female embedded in their genes cause men and women to naturally come together in relationship and produce positive social outcomes. You do not need to add anything to this mix. It is by nature already perfect. Each woman is born with the blueprint for being feminine already hardwired into her cells. For her to experience success in relationships, reproduction, community, and society, she only needs to cultivate what is already there. But in so many women today, her natal feminine attributes lie dormant and unused. Instead, she cultivates artificial traits and beliefs which are intended to equip her to cope with the machine world. She makes a fatal mistake when she relies on these artificial attributes of womanhood as her primary expression of her feminine nature, but fails to cultivate the natural feminine energy she was born with. It is important to note that a woman may have curves and look sexy on the outside, but still have yang energy. To be feminine requires her energy to be feminine. The fact is, a woman with a natural feminine energy is no longer common these days. Most women today have what is called an Amazon persona. We need to be clear now about what this natural sexual concept really means. It is saying that women already are pre programmed to do the wife, mother, community, society thing from the DNA. If she changes the original programming, she will screw it up. And we are saying that the outside world, meaning her job, her parents, her peers, her organizations, her church, her banks, her merchants, and etc., are demanding that she screw it up. They are demanding that she become yang and adapt artificial behavior programs that run counter to her natural stuff. Thus, if the woman refuses to become this yang, Amazon, consumer driven production machine, society will punish her. But the more she conforms to the demands of a dysfunctional society, the more dysfunctional she becomes. The more she loses her feminine gifts, and at the same time, everyone in her intimate circle, including her husband, boyfriends, children, grandchildren, and in laws, desire to experience her feminine side. This inner group wants all her nurturing, loving, pleasure giving, cooking, breastfeeding, caring, and feminine stuff. And they become upset and act out when she will not deliver. They do not care about what she is doing in the world outside the house because by nature, they cannot be normal without her feminine stuff. They must have it. It is the center of their world. The whole world, the family, the community, the nation, the economy, the schools, and all of that rests on the foundation of the feminine mother and wife. When she withdraws her feminine stuff, the whole society starts to come unglued. We see it now. But how can she do both? How can she remain naturally feminine and still remain viable and productive in the machine world of modern technology? So, we are not saying that a natural sexual female should be a stay at home mom. We are certainly not saying that. Can she have an education? Does she need to have a job? You bet she does. And yes, she does need to employ some of the yang energy and traits to be successful in her daily life. But she needs to cultivate the yang stuff as a secondary tier of attributes over her main feminine ones. She cannot replace her natal feminine energy with the male energy and expect to achieve overall success. Each female is born with a master feminine faculty that allows her to reset herself. She has built into her being the ability to restore herself to her natal default settings. This is the purpose of the master feminine faculty.
That is so deep.
Yeah, yeah. And this definitely resonates for me, right? So just being a single parent, and I'm constantly questioning how to find that balance. And I don't know. I think I hear that it's said that it's possible, but it's really challenging. Because just like we were talking about before we started reading, having to have that yang energy or embody that yang spirit more than not in this world. There's just society is just creating an environment where we have to utilize that more
Mm-hmm.
than our yin.
Yeah, man. Even in m- me and my husband, I can pretty much say, being that he is out busting his ass for us, that I am in a yang mode most of the time because
Mhm.
I just feel like if anything happens, I need to be able to respond, and so it's like always operating in fight or flight,
Mm.
and that stresses out the vagus nerve, because it affects your whole body,
Mhm.
just intense like that. So yeah.
And when you reflect on that moon archetype, you know, it really impairs our ability to give and put forth the energy to give because now, you're looking at the security piece
Hmm.
of it. Like you don't feel secure. And so you
Right.
start drawing back those resources and that energy.
Right. And so welcome back to everybody who tuned in and was here with us last week. What we just heard was Jennifer reading, or Jenny Mae reading chapter 2. And so it's just shaking that paradigm still. It's like, yes, we really, really have to take a good look at why we are the way we are and actually take steps. Because if we're talking again, nation building, you're gonna have to take the steps necessary to change.
Mm-hmm.
Just finding out that we are the core, according to this book. And of course, we know the males have their 4 archetypes. Are we? Well, I haven't told everybody. We're gonna read that one too. We're reading that one too because the understanding needs to be, on both ends of the spectrum. Because I think when understanding is there, the respect will be there.
Absolutely.
So, but yeah, this chapter is deep. And so you don't need to do anything. You do not need to add anything to this mix.
Nope.
It's already perfect. Natural sexuality, yeah.
Mm.
Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and dive into chapter three. The reason why we're doing two chapters this week is because chapter two is so short. And so we are on chapter three, the master feminine faculty. The master feminine faculty is the part of her consciousness that determines which of her feminine attributes this particular woman will bring forward and when to bring them forward. It is important to understand that this portion of the human subconscious is distinct from the main intelligence that governs our other development. The master feminine faculty becomes fully awake for the first time at about age 11 or 12 and starts the phase we call puberty. It begins to bring forward the feminine traits that become the woman's mind, body, reproductive system, personality, and emotional makeup. It should be self evident that each female human contains within herself a natal blueprint for becoming a woman. The faculty or mechanism for bringing her particular bank of feminine attributes into manifestation we call the master feminine. But the master feminine inside every woman encounters many obstructions as it tries to develop her into the highest and most natural version of a female that it can. Year after year, it recedes further into the background as she replaces natural traits and natural lifestyles with artificial replacements. And eventually, the master feminine faculty goes into remission and becomes merely a dormant element of her inner being, inert and inactive. Science indicates that most female humans start their life with very similar genetic potentials as to their feminine nature. Of course, women today present a wide range of body types, personalities, reproductive function, sexual postures, and emotional states. But there is no evidence to suggest that the bulk of these are due to genetic factors. Science tells us that 98% of all humans alive today descended from one common bloodline in Africa just 200,000 years ago. From that standpoint of evolution, and y'all know I got to pause on that. Hold on. We know that new information has been presented. The oldest female bones were found in South America. And so I know he's an older guy. So maybe when he was coming up, that was his point of reference. But we do want to correct the point of reference. Okay, so from the standpoint of evolution, that is a very short time. Even 500,000 years ago would not be long enough for them for the human species to evolve into the variety of versions we see before us today. Therefore, we can assume that the wide variations in the expression of the feminine traits has more to do with the development process of the female after she is conceived than it is with the gene pool she started out with. So basically, all women start off with an almost identical genetic template. If they developed into adult females that were 100% reflection of that template, then women would be very similar in many respects as are any other animal. And y'all, the reason why I'm pausing is because I'm looking back to get an understanding myself. But sometimes when I'm reading, I'm still trying to pace myself. That makes sense. Okay. So after she is basically I can't believe that. Y'all. So everybody starts out with the same palette, and it's all in what you cultivate. And that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dang. And then I wonder why they try to say, oh, it's genetics. I think genetics has something to do with it. I was telling my sister when we went to Sedona, there was this older lady there out of New Orleans. And baby, she was a balanced woman. You could just tell it. Everything about her was beautiful. Okay, she smelled good. She looked good. Her food was good when she cooked it. And it's just you can tell in certain families they do cultivate that woman to be a woman. Just down south, you know early that you're gonna be a wife and take care of husband or whatever.
Hmm.
So to add to that is wealth. So we're not talking about somebody who's hanging out and no offense, but somebody who is wearing quality materials. Like everything about her was elegant. And it just put me in mind of that, like what would I have become if things would have been cultivated differently?
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, y'all.
Mm.
So worship was reflection of the template. Yeah, okay. The main differences would result from racial types, blood types, and the geography of the bloodline. Human females, like other mammals, are much more similar in genetic makeup than they are different. In other words, humans are different more from their act of development, karma, and environment than from any other reasons. The vast differences that we see in society result from a partial development of what is in their genetic pool, not as a result of major inherent genetic differences. The flaws in the development process begin before conception with the health of the parents. It continues in the womb with the way different mothers carry the fetus to term, and these problems continue. There are deficiencies in nutrition, the level of chi energy available, and etc. Is that chi? Hello.
Yes. Yes.
Ancient cultures tells Ancient cultures tell us that the gestation period for a human embryo in one solar year, not 9 months. In other words, for the female child to come out the womb with the maximum feminine potential, then her mother would need to carry her for 12 months, not 9. Wow.
Right?
Mm.
That's three months early. Just think about if we had that extra 3 months to just cultivate all of that.
Right. And so in class we talk about the cell salts and how being that you don't get carried those 3 extra months, that it's important that you go and look up the cell salts necessary. The 3 months, I think it's the month you're born and the 2 months after, or is it the month you're born and before and after?
I'm not sure.
Okay. So look, the book was here. Yeah, I have so many books. It's just like out of control. But I'll show you all the next time. But on the book cover, it shows like the months and those cell salts that you don't get from your mother during that period. You want to make sure to supplement them, and it's good particularly for the nervous system. But I know my cell salt personally for me is silica, and so everybody knows Sage is the skin, and so I do have eczema, and so you want to find that out. But anyway, um, I'm just thinking about how women carry, and then some have all these issues along the way.
Mm.
I know me personally, I could not eat anything but apples. I used to carry apples. I couldn't have anything red. I couldn't smell or look at meat. I was done. Like nothing but apples. Okay, apples saved my life.
Wow.
And so we went over it in astrology class, And what she was saying, Sag would eat what horses eat, which is a lot of root plants and also apples and stuff that horses eat. And I'm like, thank you, because I love root plants. But in the
Mm.
new diets that are being pushed, they telling you the hybrids are better for you, and so I had kind of changed how often I eat my root plants and stuff. But just the astrology is important. It's teaching me so much. But I just never thought about being at Sagittarius, the Archer, the horse, that you would eat root plants. Like that would be better for my blood type. And so,
Mm.
hey brother Uno, hey Lisa. But yeah, it said it start before, and he would need to be carrying for 12 months. I can't imagine how pregnant you would be after the initial months you carry. Because I think we carry 10. But
Mhm. Mhm. But I wonder how much of it is mental too.
mm,
Because you already know at the moment you become pregnant that you're gonna carry for 9 months. That's your expectation. But if someone told you that it would be 12, maybe you could go, but you just know at 9 months you're towards the end
right.
and you about to be done. So
Yeah.
just like with
It's,
anything, fasting,
right.
all of that. You think about those last days, it's just like
Ooh.
I don't know if I'm gonna make it, but it's like you literally have 3 days.
So you got 3 more days?
No, 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 I'm done. I finished on Friday.
You are the goat. The sea goats. Okay.
Ooh,
How many days was it?
48.
Girl, you are my inspiration.
48.
40, you look awesome.
Well,
You are
thank you,
glowy.
sis. Thank you.
Okay, y'all. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna start by reading. Okay. So why does one woman turn out tall and shapely with a provocative disposition, and the next woman comes out short and obese with an aggressive and manly posture? Why does the master feminine faculty make the choices that it does? I do not know the full answer to this question. I doubt anyone does. But I do know that we can exercise more control over this development than we currently do. The master feminine faculty wants to do its job, but we hamper it in many ways. When the master feminine faculty awakens, it looks for input from us, but we seldom respond. In the absence of guidance from us, it goes to the default programs we are born with. One of the programs is our forebears, going back 7 generations. The next is our life mission, and the third is our karma. Thus, in default, our master feminine faculty uses the genetic makeup of our parents and the 6 generations before them. Each woman is born with a mission in life. So her masculine feminine faculty will seek to bring forth some traits that will help her with this mission. Each woman also has karma. She carries karma from her past life experience. And this karma reflects past traits she had in her past lives. And so her karma will also influence which attributes the master feminine faculty brings online first. This is part of the default program, but we can and should try to influence the masculine and feminine faculty if we are able to do so. For the most part, most women just never bring enough of their feminine attributes online. They do not develop completely and fully. It is not that the masculine and feminine faculty makes bad choices. The reality is that it is rare that a girl lets it finish its work. Most females shut this faculty down before they are 21 years old. The master feminine faculty is shut down and usually before it completed even a portion of its work. In other words, most women enter adulthood without the traits and skills in place that her master feminine faculty intended for her to have. She enters the adult phase and tries to live life without all the tools she needs to do it naturally. Women have as much potential to be complete today as they did at any time. Her bank feminine attributes can never diminish, decay, or decrease. They are always available. But when the masculine feminine faculty is shut down prematurely, her main attributes remain dormant and are not developed. Because of this partial development, her body will not be well defined, not a lot of curves, and her threshold to become sexually aroused may be high. And she may not find being a mother very joyful. Ooh, honey. Woo, this book just be hurting your feelings. What?
Look, so going back to the forebears, the going back 7 generations, that part for me, like just having an understanding, like I have been on a journey for quite some time to just go back and understand, primarily the women in my bloodline and the types of decisions. And I started looking at, like the men that have been chosen and things like that. But I'm definitely a firm believer that we will fall back into looking into the same traits of those people before us. That is very, very real. And the karma, that part right there,
Right.
it's like, wow.
Especially the karma. It's like, these are things most people live their whole lives without being aware of, not even looking into their past lives.
Mm-hmm.
So can you imagine just having a hard time on every turn?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And again, going back to this astrology piece and having an understanding of what that past life looked like,
Mm-hmm.
looking at that South Node, um, having an understanding of that,
Mm-hmm.
that's important.
Right. Okay. So, why does the masculine feminine faculty shut down? Everything the female is designed to do as an adult is suppressed and discouraged in her as a teen. Females are designed to get pregnant, to be a mother, to give sexual pleasure, gather wealth and resources, build a community, and bring forth the plan for a future society. If the parents, members of the opposite sex, and society in general is not actively working with a young girl to help her express all of the activities above, then in effect, the attributes are being shut down. I'm gonna read that once. If the parents, members of the opposite sex, and society in general is not actively working with a young girl to help her express all of the activities above, then in effect, the attributes are being shut down. What? It's like community is important. Like for real.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're gonna get mad about it. Okay. Um, the masculine feminine faculty is the intelligence within a woman's subliminal programs that works with these four archetypes of her feminine nature. It takes a sleeping trait in her DNA and it brings it online. What happens is that the young girl enters her puberty stage and her masculine feminine faculty awakens and begins to bring her feminine attributes online. In 80% to 90% of all teenage girls in our society, the masculine feminine faculty awakens and begins the process of bringing her four feminine archetypes online, and then is forced to shut down and go back into remission. But before the master feminine faculty within a girl shuts down, it does bring forth some of her feminine energy. Usually, it develops one of the four attributes more than the other three. Okay. So most young women start their adult life with one of the four feminine archetypes active and the other three archetypes still for the most part inactive and dormant. Yeah. You right, brother Uno. Imagination take over. You start doing what you think it is to be feminine. I went through that. I thought it was wearing the heels, I was very girly. And then I can't even tell you what happened. Maybe I need to go back in time, but I started dressing like a tomboy. And I think it was the root of not wanting that attention that I was drawing. Because you dressing girly all the time at a young age, that attracts grown men, and not just that, unbalanced grown men. And so, yeah. So are you gonna pick up from here?
I sure can.
Let's see. Let me look forward,
Mm. Okay.
and
Second,
I'm sorry. I'll pick back up. Either at vital structured water or either unnatural sexual habits in the modern era.
got you. We do
Okay.
vital structured water. Okay.
Okay.
Second puberty, moon edition, the reset button. The master feminine faculty is a consciousness in the human spirit. It is not the feminine energy itself, but the mechanism or device that takes the feminine qualities and traits that reside dormant in the genes and aura and then causes these to become active in her body, mind, and personality. The master feminine faculty is not the aspects of a woman's nature that are specific to the female gender, but the controlling mechanism that activates her feminine traits out of a dormant, inert state and develops them as a real part of her physical, emotional, and sexual makeup. The spirit of a woman is energy. It does not age or diminish. The master feminine faculty can be awakened even after a woman has retired it. There is a story of a woman in the Bible. I think her name was Sarah. Yes, Sarah. I believe she was the wife of Abraham. The story goes that at the age of 90, she conceived a child and gave birth. If this story is true, it is an example of the power of the master feminine faculty. If there is a physical requirement for the reactivation of a woman's master feminine faculty, it would be that she has good gland health. She should be physically capable of the production of human growth hormone, which requires a healthy pituitary gland. And she should be able to produce estrogen, which requires that her ovaries be intact. Even if she has gone through menopause, it may not prevent the activation of the master feminine. Most females today do not cultivate and nourish their feminine energy. Some do, but it is not typical. Because of this, the master feminine faculty often goes into remission while they are still in their early 20s. It should remain active their entire life. The awakening circle. In the process of awakening the master feminine faculty, forming an awakening circle is the first task. The awakening circle is a focus group of women and men. I suggest it include at least 18 people or more. Many of the things that a woman can learn in this forum are best seen through the point of view of a male. Most men and women do not fully understand how the human energy field works and why it plays such a critical role in sexual behavior. It does not matter if the female is 20 or 50. She needs to obtain an understanding of the pattern of her feminine development and what her energy was broadcasting to males when she entered adulthood. There is the tendency for both men and women to blame the other sex for their relationship experience. And certainly males probably deserve some responsibility for her history. But each woman has a broadcast pattern that is based on which of these four archetypes was dominant when she entered adulthood, and this will explain to her why she has attracted certain males to her and why she has not been able to attract others. And it is fine to read this book and get the abstract meaning of this, but she will really only truly understand it by a thorough discussion of this within the circle. Awakening exercises. We divide the awakening process into 4 sets of awakening exercises. The first, restoring reproductive health, reversal of toxic womb syndrome. The second, restoring the feminine persona, the destruction of the counterfeit personality. The third is the sexual renaissance, genital reflexology. And the fourth, building your culture of abundance and sustainability, abandoning the scarcity model in your life. The Awakening Regimen. Master Yao has designed several supervised programs for awakening the master feminine. The most common is a 4-month regimen with 1 month devoted to working with each of the 4 feminine archetypes: the moon, seated hawk, elegant rose, and treasure chest. The actual process to awaken the master feminine faculty begins by the infusion of a catalyst into the woman's subconscious mind. There is a program already there. It is embedded. She is born with it. The infusion of this catalyst is like pressing the reset button on a machine. It sets the program back to its default settings and starts the original program running again. It works sort of like hypnosis or autosuggestion. And we could say this infusion is somewhat of an esoteric process. You cannot do this without a coach or guide. But as you read on and see the female energy operating system, you will discover that awakening the master feminine faculty is not as complex as it sounds. You can do it in a matter of weeks. Remember the last time you overloaded an electrical circuit in your house. You go to the breaker panel and switch the circuit breaker off and then back on, and the power comes back on again. Of course, you first have to turn off the appliance that overloaded the circuit. Maybe you had both a hair dryer and an iron turned on. You turn the iron off and you unplug it, and then you turn the circuit breaker back on. Everything is okay. The master feminine faculty is like that circuit breaker. It disconnects the woman from the negative stuff and sets her back to her original setting again. Of course, you cannot just pop the woman on the head and she resets. She's not a machine. It's more complex than that, and yet it is still simple in each step. We are going to walk you through the whole process. We will devote a section in each chapter to this awakening process. We will introduce what we shall term awakening exercises. And we should mention right up front that women will find it easier to undergo these awakening exercises if they do so in groups. Awakening circles are what we will call them. And all of this starts off with an awakening regimen. Our website is also a source of more information about the process. Awakening exercises, awakening circles, awakening regimen. Thus, a woman begins to awaken her master feminine faculty by hitting the reset button. This is to undergo the awakening regimen. This lasts about 3 or 4 months. This puts her into a special second puberty stage where she can develop at an accelerated rate. Her sexual energy is way up high. During the regimen, she is part of a focus group called an awakening circle, and this group has a very important function that we will describe later. The woman can stay in this secondary puberty state for months, even years, until she brings all the attributes online she desires. After she completes the energy regimen, she can employ the awakening exercises at any time she wants to. These are for achieving some specific sexual, relationship, energy, or reproductive goal. She does not have to do any of them, or she can choose to do all of them. This energy regimen employs a lot of exotic stuff. You do not have to understand all of it to do it. Everyone can do it. The regimen incorporates things like Qigong, yoga, reflexology, diet, tantra work, table work, and special such supplements as used in alternative medicine. It does not require a lot of time each day, nor more than half an hour per day. It does not require major changes in your lifestyle. There are no radical diet changes or stuff. And the stuff you learn to do in the regimen can be transferred over into your bedroom experience and into your mate relationship.
So they're going to be exercises.
Yeah. Yep. Did you want to pick up from here, Nina? Or you want me to keep reading?
Yeah, okay. I'll read. I had to tell Pharaoh to keep it down. um, Vital structure water. The special water used in the regimen is bioavailable and clustered. This is H12O6 rather than H2O. Drink 1 gallon of the special water each week. This is the most important physical aspect of this regimen. The restoration of the wound's water vessel is a key step in any healing. Most importantly, the modern female does not drink enough good water. In nature, most fresh water used to be neutral pH or slightly alkaline. I tell people this all the time. I'm like, you're not supposed to be in a constant state of alkaline. Everything's supposed to be neutral. But anyway, um, in nature, most fresh water used to be neutral pH or slightly alkaline. Water running over the natural earth absorbs traces of minerals and develops entrains eons. But today, most people live in an urban area that get their water from artificial sources. The water has been treated with chemicals. These may be very harmful to the female. Water has been changed, starting with rain. Industrial pollution has placed acid particles in the clouds. Even if the rain is falling down from the clouds, it is not as it used to be. And the ground has changed. Much vegetation and natural foliage has been destroyed, replaced by concrete roads and lawns of grass laced with chemicals. Lawns and farms and city streets are a major source of pollution. Water runs over these things water runs over these things and then into our drinking reservoirs. I have personally tested bottled water for several years. Almost all of it is acid pH, ranging from 6.0 pH to 6.8 pH. This is unnatural. It should be 6.8 pH to 7.8 pH. Some of the water you drink needs to be alkaline pH. The kidneys require this to neutralize acid waste in the blood. Without a proper supply of correct water, a young girl cannot stabilize the fluids in her body. Diet. Many books have been written on the natural diet. If you buy it in a box or the frozen food section, that food is basically worthless. The young girl needs all nutrients, but the absence of the amino acids and the absence of vitamins A and E are especially harmful. Vitamin A is a critical. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm stuck over here, so let me take my time. I just can't believe the book hit me with the 1-2 on even the frozen food section, because a lot of people say, "Oh, well, frozen," and we know it's better than you know canned, but still. And then all the box stuff, right? Okay, so vitamin A is critical for proper health of mucus linings. The omega oils help her to make hormones. There are some toxins that contribute to this issue more than others. Corn syrup is a major problem. It is in almost everything. Free radicals are an even bigger problem. Her diet is full of them, especially in fried meats and fast food. Eating fast food made with the meat from chemically treated animals, then fried in putrid oil that is used over and over again, is a cocktail for reproductive health. Child.
Right.
I'm
And
like,
that even goes for, vegans, that whole Beyond Meat, all of the meat substitution stuff. You
mm-mm.
can't rule that stuff out either. There's tons of free radicals in that stuff too.
And I think just on terms of it being a vegetable and you frying it like that, it absorbs all that oil. So you not even eating vegetables no more. Now
Right.
is that's why I say just give me my vegetables. You ain't gotta make them look like cheese.
Right. Right.
Just give me the vegetable. I'm good. Okay, so I'm just thinking about how we grow up on fried foods. And so can you imagine 50 years of nothing but a certain diet?
Yeah.
Yeah, it explains the infertility. Yeah. Okay. Buy a juice machine, which is $100 to $250. Make a serving of fresh juice twice a week. Use vegetables and fruit, especially root vegetables such as carrots, radishes, beets, etc. Take 4,000 to 6,000 milligrams of vitamin C each day. Use Alistair brand. And y'all, we're not advertising for the company. It's just in the book, okay? Um, Modify the diet to eat foods that contain omega oils. These are critical to make hormones, keep fluids the correct consistency, and for amino acid production. So, oh, okay. So you will see a big difference in a week. Try not to take the supplements unless you have no choice. Get the oils from food if you can. Salmon, flaxseed oil, and cheddar cheese will help. Oh, because cheese is kind of greasy. Cheese is for the acid, not the oil. Oh, okay. Check your iron levels. If you have heavy flows, probably need to supplement iron. Wow. And how many women have heavy flows? Every
Mhm.
woman I know. Let me highlight this. Hold on. You just hemorrhaging.
Mhm.
Check your iron levels. Heavy flow is low iron. Hmm. I'm gonna do that today. Avoid all salt and seafood in the diet for 4 days. Plot your cycle on a calendar. The 3 days before your flow and the first day of the flow, do not take in any salt. It is the iodine in the salt, not the sodium, that is bad for you. Seafood has iodine also. This iodine does something to the thyroid around this time. So okay, naturally, the blood has the same ratio of salt to blood as salt to the sea. It is the thyroid which overcompensates. Wow.
So hold on, Nina, can you read that part again?
Mhm.
Naturally.
Naturally, the blood has the same ratio of salt to blood as salt to the sea.
Wow.
And so it's just telling you, like, before your cycle, you don't supposed to be taking in a lot of salt. That listen,
Wow.
let me highlight this.
So the thyroid is overcompensating during that time. Mm.
Then people be saying salt is bad. No. So now a lot of people are what is it? The sodium that is bad. The iodine. Now a lot of people are iodine deficient because they know follow the whole movement of salt is bad for you.
Right.
So okay, so the natal traits of male and female embedded in their genes cause men and women to naturally come together in relationship and produce positive social outcomes. You do not need to add anything to this mix. It is by nature already perfect. Each woman is born with the blueprint for being feminine already hardwired into her cells. You don't have to add anything. For her to experience success in relationships, reproduct, reproduction, as a mother, and as the center of her community, she only needs to cultivate what is already there. In each of the four awakening lifestyle, sorry, in each of the four awakening exercises above, we will talk about what has been added to our modern lifestyle that is artificial and show how to remove it. Then we show what needs to be done to encourage the feminine faculties to come into greater prominence. And finally, we show what benefits she will attain. Dang. Now, this is where diet matters because a lot of people say this, but they don't have a real good, strong reason why it matters. They be like, oh, because I just was buying the ancestors. Oh, our ancestors. I'm like, no, I was alive when my ancestors was here, and they ate me. I was like, no,
Mhm.
that's not true for everybody. And so now this book is telling us it matters because it's playing out through your cells. This stuff plays out. So I know every female that I know bleeds heavy on their menstrual or cycle. And so if you could just cut the salt out 3 days before your flow and the first day of your flow. So it's not a big sacrifice because, you
Yeah.
know,
I think I know quite a few women who bleed heavily also, but I think one of the first steps too is getting in touch with our bodies to even know when our cycles are coming,
right.
and being able to say, okay, because some women, I know I have a few friends um, who don't track their periods at all. They just get there when they get there, and they're not necessarily, it's not necessarily something that's being documented. Or
Mm-hmm.
you got to get in a regular flow. Some women have very irregular flows where they can't necessarily predict that. So maybe starting some type of like a cycle journal or
Mm-hmm.
something along those lines to allow better tracking of
Right.
something like that.
I definitely track mine. I didn't younger, but the
Right.
older you get, that's important.
There's
Um,
tons of apps too now that make it super easy.
I was trying the apps. I think the apps are purposely giving you the wrong ovulation date,
Hmm.
and
I
so
really just look at it for dates because
right, right. Well, I put mine in my Google Google Calendar, but I did used to be big on the apps, and I'm like, what's missing? And so what I realized is that they are not using the moon cycles. It
mm,
does matter, and so sometimes it'll be too early as far as ovulation. But the astrology teaches you it's like what 14 days after your first day you start
hmm
when you ovulate. Yeah, and so that just blew my mind. Yeah, I got stuck on the heavy bleeding because I personally have experienced this. I notice when I'm fasting, it's not at all, you know, and I guess because you're not taking in so much salt because they put salt in everything too. And so,
everything. Yep.
yeah. Okay, so we are on unnatural sexual habits in the modern era. There are natural life cycles and patterns that govern life. Indigenous cultures have followed the life cycles for centuries. In the West, we have stopped following these cycles, and in some cases, we have forgotten that they exist. The chi force is the raw energy field all around us, which powers life. All life in chi, all life, hold on, y'all. All life takes in chi into the energy body and gives off an electromagnetic waste product. Chi levels rise and fall in a pattern that is in sync with the seasons. From a low point, chi begins a slow rise in late winter until it reaches a working phase at the spring equinox. Y'all, I can feel this. I can feel this every year. I know when the fall hit, I'm going into my resting phase. And then I can feel my energy picking back up, getting ready for the spring. This is the that goes just that's confirmation that you celebrating the new year and you setting your intentions. Timing is everything.
Yeah.
So and you're supposed to be able to feel it in your body. Hold on, let me highlight this. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Life then renews itself in the spring equinox. Chi rises quickly until it reaches a peak at the summer solstice. It then begins to drop and reaches the low point at the winter solstice. This is the cause of the seasons spring, summer, fall, and winter. Sexual energy, spirit energy, and all organic energy starts with the raw chi. Therefore, human sexual activity should begin in the spring, reach a peak in the summer, and slowly taper off until the winter solstice. Yeah, this is so deep.
And you know what? And like, doesn't, and this is almost opposite of like society, because doesn't society talk about cuffing season or something is like in the
Right,
winter time?
right. It just makes me think. When
You
I
won't
did
be
get
really doing
pregnant,
nothing.
a successful pregnancy, I got pregnant in the spring. Yeah.
Wow.
So timing is everything. This is the in those hot months, I'll say. King too, right?
Yeah, yeah. I was just about to say right at probably right around spring solstice, March.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. This is deep, y'all. Okay, I'm going forward. Now, from the winter solstice until the spring equinox, there should be only a minimum of sexual activity. To violate this pattern places stress on the reproductive system. I'm gonna have to do a separate video on this. This is y'all. This would cure a whole lot of women who are trying to have babies and can't. And then they go into the science. Nothing wrong with science. But wouldn't it be all the better? No injections, and you could just, you got to put that. And I tell my sister this. I never felt like sex should be happening all the time,
Hmm.
like ever. And people will get married or with whoever and just be going at it. And I'm like, nah, like that's not a good fit for me. My friend's grandma said, don't let no man use you up. So you are not just supposed to be busting it down every 3 seconds.
Right.
Okay, sorry, y'all. Now, humans are made to be active in the day and resting at night. We are designed so that the hormones, mucus glands, organs, and blood flow are primed for sex in the daytime. Sex at night places more stress on the system than sex in the daytime. Humans are 60 to 70% water. All activities involving the blood, the hormones, mucus linings, and sperm are key to the ability of liquids to circulate. The lunar cycle clearly shows that sexual activity should peak near the full moon and reach a low point near the new moon. Wow. In indigenous cultures that have been limited, hold on, y'all, I'm getting lost. In indigenous cultures that have limited contact with Western technology, women breastfeed their babies from 1 to 2 years. During this time, they typically reduce sexual activity with their husbands. The same is true during pregnancy. In Europe, cow's milk was forced on young babies as a substitute for breast milk to free the mother up to work or to have the next baby. In Africa and Asia, Goat's milk was used. This leads to negative outcomes. It is the one cause of reproductive issues in the female after she grows up. For some strange and troubling reason, the growers of various farm animals decided to use the growth hormones and hormone like chemicals in raising their chickens, beef, and pigs. Many of these hormones are almost identical to human hormones. The hormone given to chickens to make their breasts abnormally large is so close to human estrogen in chemical action that it disrupts the estrogen cycle in girls who eat fried foods, who eat that fried foods, yeah. While many experts hint at these negative outcomes, no one really knows yet the full extent of the damage that this practice has for the current generation and generations to come. We know the damage. They looking like grown women in middle school. We know.
Exactly.
Okay. Artificial habits have a downside. It is clear that the shift in the ethos of the female gender from a yin and feminine woman to a more yang and masculine woman has had extraordinary repercussions. In the last 15 years, there has been an explosion in the lesbian population. Prior to 1958, the bisexual or down low lifestyle was virtually unknown. It is common today. The divorce rate has ballooned over this period, and health issues associated with the female reproductive system has escalated enormously. Let's look at each issue individually. How have unnatural practices and beliefs contributed to the poor state of the female reproductive health? I'm just, girl, I got stuck all the way up
Mm.
here. So they saying just overall us as a collective have influence because they're saying artificial habits. And so it's not just the milk, it is a clear shift in the ethos of the female gender from a yin. And then women, like we was talking about earlier, women have
Hmm.
to be strong,
Yep.
giving off those, passing those genetics down to your daughter. Um, ethos, more yang, and masculine women have had extraordinary, yeah. In the last 50 years, there has been an explosion. And you know what? I watched most of my friends grow up as moms and single moms from teenagers.
Mm.
And so watching them be strong was hard at times, you know. It's like, dang.
Yeah. It's an imbalance.
Yeah,
It really is. It's an imbalance.
that's deep. And it says prior to 1958, the bisexual or down low lifestyle was virtually unknown. And I'm just thinking back, just thinking back on family members. It's like even if they were, it was just never talked about.
Yeah.
So it was very hidden, and now it's just everywhere you look. You know.
It's everywhere you look. It's
Yeah.
being, yeah,
Yeah.
it's everywhere. Clothing, everywhere.
Right.
There's no way around it.
Nowhere around it. I went on Old Navy to go get me some jeans and stuff, and now they have put gender neutral everywhere. And I'm like, just in general, people know how jeans fit. And so,
Mhm.
you know, if you curvy and a woman, you don't want your jeans fit like a man because it ain't gonna be no room in the back.
Right.
So how is that gender neutral? Like, you trying to trick me. So but yeah,
I'm 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 looking forward to this breakdown, how everything's going to be broken down individually.
right.
Um because I mean just you like the whole being active during day, resting at night. So sex should be taking place during the day. It's just like total opposite of everything that we see in media, like on television. Like it's just a complete swap, like opposite. we're just being conditioned to do exact opposite of what we should be doing.
Hmm. Yeah, and then that becoming way of life.
Yeah.
Cause all I knew is I have to maintain. I went through a period where I was irresponsible. My first two apartments, I lost them both because I wasn't taught savings and budget and stuff that's very
Hmm.
important. And
Hmm.
so after that, I knew like you have to have a strategy, and also you have to heal that financial trauma.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's what it is. But being strong still played into that because I was still taught, you can't depend on a man. So that ain't what you depending on to get that rent paid, and that does put you in a certain mindset
Hmm.
every
And
day.
I do appreciate as one of the awakening exercises being that building the culture of what is it, abundance and sustainability. So like being brought up, even if it's unconscious or just not being aware of having that scarcity mindset, and a lot of what we do actions out of just self-sabotage just because of that scarcity mindset, or feeling like, you know, we're not necessarily deserving of having the things. So we just hold on to the, little bit of money that we do have, and spend it on the things that we want, and don't just be irresponsible as
Right,
a result.
right.
Mhm.
I see it too, more so now, ironically, with the men, young men being irresponsible with money because
Mhm.
they go into a sort of survival mode early on because most these are single parent homes,
Yep.
what you get from your dad would be, budget and stuff like that, in my opinion. Um, but just not having it because us females need it too. I know I didn't get logic and all that from my dad like at all, and so I pretty much had to figure it out. And you talking about somebody with a lot of water and air in their chart. So, a lot of those decisions still today are emotional based, and we know
Mhm.
that's not balanced either. My feel or how I feel, you have to have some logic. And so, just think about that. And then you having little girls, you storing this stuff up in your DNA, and then you have a daughter, and this is causing her to be shaped hard. She's shaped like a quarterback. Me and my sister cracking up. She, and no offense, because we see it.
Linebacker.
Yeah, big
Mhm.
wide back, and it's just those genetic impressions. This is so deep, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all. So we gonna get out of here. I have to work out. If I don't start today, my week start off slow. So the next chapter we'll be reading is Awakening the Master Feminine. That's the book. Money, power, and religion, the herd mentality,
Mm.
and that's chapter 4. If you all, I forgot last week. I'm gonna email myself right now so I can put the link to buying the book in the description box.
Yes, yes. For any of y'all who are following my YouTube channel, chapter 1 has the link to the book there, as
Okay.
well as Style by Nina's channel as well. Please subscribe to her.
Are you gonna plug your business?
Yes, well, okay. SoulSisterBeauty.com is body products. I'm currently going through like a rebranding there, so I'm trying to push people to the new page. But in the meantime, yes, Soul Sistar, Sistar Beauty.com. Thank you, Nina. Thank you. You always encourage me to plug my stuff.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do a better job with that.
girl, we got to. Who
Yeah.
who gonna go harder for us than us? Yeah.
Right.
My link tree will be in the description box as well. If you want to reach me about anything, my businesses, forex, I am still hosting the Mastering Crypto class every Monday and Friday. And so it's a free class. If you would like to attend, let me know. All I need is your email, and then you'll get the link right before class. Also, my store is in my link tree. Y'all ain't gotta flood me with orders. I appreciate the support. But I'm still working on the last orders. And so everybody will be receiving their invoices. Thank you to those of you that did order. I'll be getting those ordered out this week. And I think that's about it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Put a thumbs up
Mhm.
on both of our channels for the videos. Help us help you.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna get out of here then.
All right,
Peace.
y'all. Peace, y'all.